All right, we're back. I'm with Roy Smith, a local legend in electrical and contracting, and I'm proud to have gotten to know him over this period here where we're discussing electricity, problems in the trades, education, all kinds of things. But I really wanted to hone in on the education topic one more time because I personally believe it's super important, and I think it's something that most of our trade is lacking. I think that they don't put enough care into that as part of their development process as they're learning and growing in the trades. So I wanted to ask you, Roy, about, again, this whole topic of education, about training and apprenticeships. Maybe we start there. Let's start with apprenticeships. How hard is it to, I guess, develop that type of program? Because our industry, as I've told you, has really nothing for that in place. So if that's something that we want to do as Elli or another entity wants to do that, I mean, what can you suggest towards that on setting up a program?
Well, Mark, to be honest with you, I know 100% about the electrical apprenticeship programs. I don't know about your specific trade to speak in anything but generalities. I know that there is probably a process that you could obtain. I know of no apprenticeship for your vocation.
Right.
I believe that it's imperative twofold, the employers and the employees. I can't imagine, or I don't want to believe, that it wouldn't be in the minds of the employers to be behind something of such a nature. I can tell you that from the worker bee side of it, the employee, that it would be totally, I mean, as an electrician, I'm 3 days from employment. And I say that even at my age. You would think that an 83-year-old guy wouldn't be in demand. But I am.
Right.
I would have to make a commitment for time because nobody wants to hire somebody if they don't have the expectation that they're wanting to be an employee for some time, and I would have to make that concession, which I'm probably not willing to do, but if I were, I'm employable.
Right.
Because I have spent the time to understand the needs of an electrical contractor owner. If I were a low voltage contractor, I would want an employee that's dedicated to me and feels obligated to me because I'm providing him with an income.
Sure.
And my income's going to be based on my knowledge. A requirement and a commitment is made. Responsibility gets more money than non-responsibility. Responsibility is an interesting thing. I have a handful of responsibility. Mark, do you want any of that responsibility?
Sure.
Take what you want. No, you hold your hands out. It's in my hands. I'm the employer.
Right.
Reach out and get in my hands what you want for responsibility. I can't make you do it.
Yeah.
You have to do it on your own.
Yeah.
But once you've done it, I can hold you accountable for what you took. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's excellent.
Young people today, number one, have to get their heads out of their butt and understand they get nothing in life that they don't work for.
Right.
They work for. they work for.
Yep.
Did I say they work for?
Work for.
They work for.
Yeah.
An employer can have a bushel of things they need help on, and they want somebody to take the responsibility of that work. So the employer holds their hand out to that young man or young lady and says, you know, I need you to do it. But that young lady, young man has to reach in there and take that responsibility.
Right.
But when they do that, that employer can now hold them responsible for what they took.
Sure.
And that's the trade-off. Now you have an educated person. I've been a layman all of my life. I am not college educated. Have I been to college? Yes. Did I graduate? No. Was I a high school dropout? Yes, I was.
Huh.
Did I go back to school to get my high school diploma? Yes, when I was 21 and married and had a baby.
Wow.
I spent 4 years in the military.
Yeah.
I wasn't like most people. I went in when I was 17.
Wow.
I left home when I was 15. It hasn't been easy, but I have learned that you get what you work for.
Yep.
If you don't want to work, you will not get.
Yeah.
I have been willing to reach into my employer's hand and take responsibility. They have held me accountable for what I have taken.
Sure.
I served an apprenticeship in carpentry. I was an A&P mechanic, aircraft, for those of you that don't know what A&P is, mechanic in the military.
Yeah.
I'm licensed in the federal government and have a stamp to work on aircraft. I am an A&P mechanic. I served a carpenter apprenticeship. I am a journeyman carpenter.
Yeah.
I served an electrical apprenticeship. Did I say 4 years for each one of those? Is that 12 years education? How long do people go to college?
Right. 4 years.
I
typically.
take no back step to a college graduate.
Yeah.
I have paid my dues as a layman, but I understand layman. And I'm saying that layman in your trade, which is low voltage installation of lighting,
Yep.
can get more money if he knows what he's talking about. I'm going to say that employer is going to be more than willing to pay him more money to take the responsibility he has to carry as an employer that he can hold somebody responsible for
Yep.
to help him on his path. I guess I'm saying to the contractors, don't be afraid to back that which is trying to be perfected for your interest and your future as a company. What I'm trying to say is a young man or young lady that wants to procure this as an education, as a process, as let's say a layman college, there ought to be an avenue for them to proceed and pursue to gain the education to make that much more money, that more much money, maybe even own your own company.
Right.
I have been in business for myself. I have worked for other people. I am now working for myself. As you know, even though I'm aged, I still work
Yep.
because of what I know. And yes, I didn't go to college for a degree. I
Sure.
went to college, didn't get the degree. I'm a high school dropout, and I got a high school education. I got a diploma, North Highlands High School. It's not like I'm a
Yeah.
stranger.
Right.
And I can owe everything to my exposure to experience in layman subjects.
Yep.
And I am a knowledge bank for such things.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I wanted to interject because what I'm seeing a lot of in today's environment with the youth, everything, you know, it's like instant gratification. Everybody is expecting to make big money right out the get-go. So all the training events that are going on, there's guys that are teaching or promoting our trade from the perspective of, oh, it's easy money, you can make it, boom, just charge this extra, you know, it's all sales related, right? And without having that knowledge or experience or backup. And that's the failure I see with a lot of these programs, is because, again, they're pushing this agenda and people are basically they're learning how to be overconfident and sell themselves so they can make more money, but they don't have the backup. They don't have the backing of education and training and proficiencies and things like that. So this is, again, back to the importance of education and these types of programs. How would you, because you set this all up, you set up your whole apprenticeship type of program, training for people. What are some of, you know, because it's a difficult process.
Very.
But how did you go about that, or what would you recommend for, like, let's say it's us, Elli, if we're setting up something to train and develop because nobody's doing it in our trade, you know, what should we expect? I know that's a big loaded question, but
that was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, sorry.
And it is a lot of stuff. I think that you would have to find out what criteria you would have to meet to qualify for a program. And I don't know what that is.
Okay.
I'm saying it can be had. It's not that difficult to find out. And then once you find that information out, I'm going to say you'll probably find that if you get any instruction for the need of what needs to be taught, you'll find it lacking. I think that you will have to come up with what needs to be taught.
Okay.
I think that your field needs to be broken down by segments. I was thinking earlier as we were talking that a year, maybe 2-year apprenticeship class could be had. And perhaps it could be done in a year. And when people say apprenticeship, we're not saying go 8 hours a day for a year. We're saying that 2 nights a week for a year after work would suffice the hours in the things that need to be taught. I think that you would need to teach theory, method, and installation habits.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be able to be done in a year.
Right.
And if it could, so much the better. I would say that you need to find out how you combine your efforts through a program that is either government or state to be able to facilitate a credential of qualification.
Yeah. Perfect.
And I don't know if that helps you in your question.
Well,
or
no,
not.
it does. I mean, I generally understand that's where we need to go as an entity, because, like I said, nobody's doing it. The existing organizations and associations only have limited short-term, like once a year they get together, for example, they'll have a 4-hour session, and then they'll say, oh, now you're certified in this. Well, really? I mean, 4 hours for a whole year, and they do
Right.
nothing to fulfill that proficiency-wise. You know, it's like a little, you know, sit through a couple classes, or maybe you take a little, you know, test, and that's it.
Being a employer or employee, most focus that youth has is retirement.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter whether you're the owner or the worker, your goal in your mind is retirement.
Yep. The destination.
I'm going to speak to you from my heart.
Okay.
There's no biblical reference for retirement. I've read the Bible 4 times, front to back, and there is no reference to retirement. I believe if you don't work, you die.
Yeah.
I'm probably not the majority, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people don't think that way.
Right.
But I'm real old and I feel real good.
Yeah. Good.
And the only reason that happens, I believe, is because if you don't use something, you lose something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use my feet and my brain till I die.
Yep.
My wife asked me last week, she says, well, how long are you going to work? And I said, as long as I'm alive,
Yeah.
I'm going to work.
Yep.
And the rainbow at retirement diminishes with retirement.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've waited too long to do all the things you want to do. You're not up to what you think you want to do when you
Right.
retire. They have life backwards. You ought to be retired till you're 30 and then work till you die. And it's all interesting. But my thinking is the employers, people that have low voltage lighting professions, ought to be 100% for what you're advocating,
Mm-hmm.
a educational program, because their desire is to be set up for retirement.
Yeah.
And if they had employees that were knowledgeable, that could be held accountable,
Mm-hmm.
their path would be pure. Secondly,
Mm-hmm.
the employee, if he had an educational process to gain monetary value, to attain status within a company, for the thank you of taking the responsibility comes payment.
Mm-hmm.
That's a no-brainer for the employee.
Yeah.
It ought to be a no-brainer for the contractor or the employer.
Right.
So, any question about
No,
how I feel about that?
that's great. I agree. I think that's awesome. What should the employer or it could go both ways, employer or an employee, how much financial contribution, like let's say as an employer and everything's always based on percentages, I've got so much allocated for marketing, for this, and this, right? Set aside like specifically for education and training. What do you think's an average in our trades that should be dedicated as an employer towards training their people versus, and it could be the same thing with the employee. How much time and or financial contribution should they put into their own personal development? Or do you have any thoughts on that? Maybe
Well,
it gets more into the business side of things, or
I have thoughts. I don't have the exposure to expound upon my thoughts because of lack of knowledge.
okay,
I can tell you that a electrical contractor spends about $5 an hour on education.
really, okay,
That's not a drop in the bucket.
right,
I mean, let's say you have 4 apprentices.
yeah,
All of a sudden now you're talking money.
yeah,
All employers don't want to spend money.
right,
All. All employees want more money.
yeah,
That's where the rubber hits the road.
right,
One doesn't want to spend any and one wants more.
yeah,
That's why it's called employee-employer conflicts. The point is, if both are smart, which I've not ever met an employer that didn't think they were smart.
Mm-hmm.
They might not be wise,
Right.
but they think they're smart.
Sure.
But if they're wise, they would see the advantage to monetary compensation for such a program.
Right.
And subsequently, the employee probably is not going to have the money,
Yeah.
but he's taken a lower wage because he doesn't have the education, that he is now provided with time,
Yep.
and so both win.
Right.
One pays a little and one obligates himself for time.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's great.
So I truly believe, Mark, that an educational program for your profession is monumentally important.
Yeah. I think
mean,
so too.
If you're an employer, who doesn't want somebody that knows they've been trained when they come to get a hire for a job?
Right.
You're a growing contractor and you want to grow your business.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem that you're going to have as an employer is letting somebody have the control of the responsibility. Because you're going to second guess every word that comes out of their mouth.
Yeah.
Is this protecting me? How much is he exposing me? Mm-hmm. What is my liability that he's creating for me?
Sure.
So maybe you better spend more time in discernment of who you hire.
Yeah.
And if you're hiring some kid because you have some job that you need to do and you only need somebody to shovel bark or put in low voltage lines and you don't want to pay him anything.
Yeah.
But you don't want to teach him anything either.
Sure.
Well, neither one gained.
Yeah.
You didn't gain an employee that's knowledgeable and he didn't get more money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not a degree of progress in my way of thinking.
No.
Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, Mark. I can promise you that. If there's any mistake to be made, I've made them.
Yeah.
But I fell off of a turnip truck that was full of turnips. It wasn't an empty turnip truck, it was full of turnips. And to put two and two together, you don't have to be a brain surgeon.
Yeah. Well, it's a commitment. It's a commitment, is what you're saying, from both sides.
Both sides,
Yeah.
a commitment.
Yeah.
And an understanding of my word is my bond.
Right.
If I tell you I'm going to meet you this morning to have this conversation with you, you said 10 o'clock.
Yep.
I was here at 9:45.
Yep.
Because 10 minutes early is 5 minutes late. Nice. I told a man I would be here at 10 o'clock. I'm going to be here at 10 o'clock.
That's awesome.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If Roy Smith tells you he's going to do something, bank on it.
Yeah.
Don't wonder. I reached in the hand and took the responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I expect you to make me feel obligated to fulfill that which I took.
Yep.
I told you 2 days ago, see you there.
Yep.
I didn't talk to you anymore.
Yep.
I was here at 9:45.
Integrity.
Integrity.
I love that.
Yep. And the youth of today needs to understand nothing is free.
Yeah.
There is no handout.
Mm-hmm.
You work for what you get.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you right now, Mark, that I own a house.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that I own 30 acres.
Yeah.
I can tell you that I don't owe anybody anything, and I owe it all to my trade. I don't owe it to my education. I don't owe it to somebody else. I did it from hard work because understanding nothing's free.
Yep.
You work for what you get.
Yep.
I don't have a lot of money. I got a lot of dirt.
Yeah.
God only made one dirt.
Yep.
He don't make no more dirt. I got my share. Been fun with you today, Mark.
Thank you so much. I mean, what a blessing this whole thing was.
Well,
because
I'm
again,
glad to be
we're
here.
gaining a lot of insight from experience, and this is the great takeaway. Again, commitment, accountability, spend the time and invest into your future.
Absolutely.
Have a plan, have a vision, a goal.
Have a plan.
So thank you.
Nothing happens without a plan.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Glad to
Now,
be here.
one other last thing, we're going to post up some links to some other video content that you've done or created. And I would highly recommend, visit those YouTube channels or the YouTube channel and learn more about Roy and some of the stuff he's doing. So thank you again.
Good to be here, Mark. Thanks.